All right, getting into our next module of the flag football's officials training, we're going to go over some catches and what entails a catch in our league of flag football. We'll go over punts as well as some other case plays. We'll show you some videos. This should be a pretty good module for you all. Okay, so a legal catch. A player must have possession of the ball, can't be bobbling it, and when they land, their first contact with the ball must be inbounds, and it must in our thing or our league we only require that 1 foot or one part of the body comes down inbounds for the catch to be legal. So in the NFL they require 2 feet or two parts of the body, but we would just require one part. So if a ball is caught simultaneously by the offense and defense, we talked about this a little bit in the last module, it is a dead ball and it'll belong to the offense. If going to the ground, they must complete the catch all the way through. So they can't catch the ball, land on the ground, and then have it pop up where it hits the ground without them regaining possession. That will be an incomplete pass, so they must maintain possession through contact with the ground. After an incomplete pass, the ball is snapped at the previous spot. So when the pass is not complete, we go back to the previous spot where the orange puck is, and we play from there. We're going to show you a few catches here, some controversial ones, and what constitutes a good catch in our game of flag football. All right, we'll get a little bit better of an angle here. So what I want you to pay attention to here is the back left foot of the receiver. So in the NFL, this would probably be a no catch because there's only 1 foot down. But in our game, and in this game being a college game, this is a good catch, even though they only have 1 foot and the rest of them lands out of bounds. So take a look at that. So that constitutes a catch. The next one we're going to look at, very controversial and really changed the way that we thought about catches and maintaining possession as we go to the ground. So the next one, the notorious Dez Bryant catch. They initially called this a catch. They went to review and overturned it and called it a non-catch because he didn't maintain contact through the ground. However, the new rule and the rule that we follow as well is that he catches the ball, maintains possession, takes 2 steps in what they call a football move towards the end zone. He reaches out towards the end zone. So nowadays, this would be a catch, and we will rule this a catch. But you'll see a little bit of the thinking and how that terminology developed. So what you'll see and why they call this an incomplete pass is because the ball hits the ground and is knocked loose at that point. So if he were to have only taken 1 step or caught the ball in midair and then fallen to the ground, that would be a good no catch call because the ball knocks or the ground knocks the ball loose. However, because he did make 2 steps in a football move, this should have been ruled a catch, and nowadays would be. So it's a little bit of how we got to this point. It's kind of interesting and, like I said, controversial, but just keep in mind that if somebody catches a ball in midair or while falling down, takes 1 step maybe, and then the ground knocks the ball out of their hands, that'll be an incomplete pass, and that is what they went with here. So what we'll see here is another great catch by Dez Bryant. And even though neither of his feet hit the ground, this is still a good catch because a part of his body comes down inbound. So I believe it's his rear end or maybe his back. So take a look at that. And even though his feet and his hands land out of bounds, eventually his rear end or his back lands first inbounds. So this is a good catch and a touchdown. Okay, the next thing that we will talk about is screen blocking. So in the game of flag football, again, a non-contact sport, we do allow the defense to rush the passer after the snap. So either team may obstruct an opponent by getting in the way, so by standing in front of them, but they must not make contact or initiate contact. If they do, it'll be a foul, illegal contact. So blockers must keep their arms to the side or in front of them to protect themselves. So basically, inside the frame of the body is the language that we like to use. If contact does occur, as an official, you need to think who initiated the contact. Think block charge in basketball. That's an okay metaphor there, but so think about who initiated the contact. If it was incidental contact we allow, but if it affects a play and somebody initiates the contact and displaces one or the other, then it'll be a flag on whoever initiated the contact. And Narsha has a great video that we will watch here on screen blocking. Yeah, so the big notion there is that we want to eliminate contact. So the blocker needs to get in the way without forcefully putting themselves and initiating contact and making contact that way. And the same goes for the defense. They can't just come and bull rush through and use their hands. Even if they don't use their hands, they can't lower their shoulder and initiate contact that way. So it's going to be a major call and a major thing that we need to pay attention to. And I believe we have some clips of some here at UNCW to show you a little bit of what that looks like. So that was a good legal play by both offense and defense. The blocker gets in the way, hands behind his back, doesn't initiate contact, and the defender does a good job of not trying to swipe or swim through and initiate contact, and they go around the offensive player. And that is exactly what we're looking for. It makes the game better and it makes the game safer. I think this is probably a good no call. So the offensive team, the two players in the yellow, do a good job of making a wall so that the defender cannot go through them. He kind of starts to initiate contact a little bit, but then retraces his steps, doesn't forcefully displace anybody, and starts to go around. So minimal contact like that, I think, is okay and is going to happen naturally because of momentum. So I think a good no call here. If 21 had decided to use his hands and push through the two offensive players, that would have been illegal contact on him. The next item that we'll get into is punts. So punting usually happens on fourth down, and in order for a team to be able to punt, they must tell the referee and ask them that they're going to punt. So as a referee, it's important for you on fourth down to ask the offensive team, are you going to punt the ball or are you going to play and try and get the first down? And once they make this decision, you as a referee need to communicate that to the other team. And the reason for this being is that neither team may advance past the line of scrimmage until the ball is kicked. So teams may kick on any down, but they must declare it prior to kicking. So on fourth down, you're supposed to ask if they want to kick on first, second, or third down. They're allowed to. They just need to let you know first. The offensive team still needs a minimum number on the line of scrimmage. So again, in this sport, it's just a snapper. And we don't have fair catches because there is no contact in our sport. So fair catches, they may waive for one, but you don't need to pay attention to that. As I mentioned, neither team may advance beyond the line of scrimmage. We'll see a video in one of the next few plays of somebody crossing the line of scrimmage. It is a live ball penalty, so the play will continue to go on, and then we'll enforce that after the result of the play. Receiving team can still block a punt, so the idea of that being that even though they're not allowed to cross the line of scrimmage, if somebody punts and it's low just over their heads, they can still jump up and knock it down. They're just not allowed to cross the line of scrimmage. And then any player on the receiving team can catch and advance the punt at that point. However, if the punt goes into the end zone without being caught, it'll be a dead ball at that point. It is a touchback, and we'll bring that ball out to the 14 for the offense to start there. What you see here is a good play. They're trying to block it. Nobody advances after. They snap the ball and all of them start running downfield before the ball is kicked. So that'll be a penalty on them. And we'll talk about how to enforce that penalty in some later modules. But this is a good example of illegal in the players on offense going past the line of scrimmage before the ball is kicked. We can look at it one more time. Yep. So live ball. Okay, so safety, touchback, and momentum. So this is only applied around the goal line. So as an official, you need to ask yourself, who put the ball into the end zone? Was the ball declared dead in the end zone? If it was, then that'll likely be a touchback. And was the team who put the ball into the end zone in possession at the time? If the answer is all yes, then we'll have a safety. And so the team who was in possession takes the ball into the end zone. They either get deflagged or they run out of bounds. So they put it in there. The ball is dead in the end zone, so that will be a safety. So momentum, will have a video to kind of show you this, but the momentum rule applies when a defensive player catches a fumble, that could be forward or backward pass, a kick, or recovers a kick between his or her 5-yard line and the goal line. And then their momentum, so they're running backwards, they intercept the ball at the 3-yard line, and their momentum carries them into the end zone, where they then become deflagged or they run out of the back of the end zone, and the ball becomes dead in the end zone. So their momentum pulled them back into the end zone, and then so this will not be a safety. It'll be the momentum rule, and we'll rule that a touchback. We'll have the ball at the spot of the catch and recovery. If the ball is declared dead in the end zone, it's a team's possession without having to return to the field of play. So then we're going to bring that out to the 14-yard line. And we'll look at a momentum play here. Yeah. And this can be a little bit confusing. It's mostly a judgment call, but once you're out there and once you see it a few times, I think it starts to make sense. So unless the player willingly goes back into the end zone, then it's likely not going to be a safety. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out and let me know, and we can go over it a little bit further. But that is the end of this module. Take the quiz, and we can jump into the next one. Thank you.